back to the channel, and today a quick review for this here, The Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick. A book originally published in 1962. Philip K. Dick was writing this pretty much about his own time, but in an alternate 1960, 15 years after World War II, where the Allies didn't win. It was the Axis, it was Japan and Nazi Germany that had won World War II, and they have divided the world up between them. And what does that really look like? It's a thought experiment that Dick has extrapolated upon, and he's thrust his characters in there, so we've got an angle to look at this strange world that he has created. So this particular copy is the Science Fiction Masterworks copy. It's a little hardback copy, a bit bigger than the paperback, but 275 pages, a little over 300 words per page. 85,000 words probably in total. I read it in 4 sittings. I'm quite a slow reader, but I think, half a week is more than enough really to read this. It is quite compelling. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a page turner, but the ideas, the themes in this novel will keep things ticking over quite nicely, I think. What's really, really interesting in this novel is it's Philip K. Dick, so he has thrust so many themes and so many concepts into this quite short novel that it becomes very, very difficult to unpick. You feel very disorientated. In fact, I would say some of the elements in here are almost put in there just to mess with the reader's head, to disorientate the reader and put them on the back foot, so you are more perceptive, or you're more open to receiving the messages, subliminal though some of them are, from Dick throughout the novel. Yes, some of the themes in here are very heavy-handed, of course. It's alternate reality and the politics and the racism. That's all very heavy-handed. For a lot of people, if you skim read this, you're not going to get the depth that is here in this book. You're going to get those heavy-handed themes, and it's a fine novel for that. That's absolutely fine. But sometimes Philip K. Dick takes you on a little bit of a journey. Sometimes, and in I remember one scene, he looks at a concept and he looks at it from a physical standpoint, and then the social, geopolitical standpoint, and then he goes into the existential standpoint, and by the end of it, the reader is left completely reeling. You're tilted out of your mind. You're unsure about what you've read in the hundreds of pages leading up to that scene, and that's just Philip K. Dick, and that's what he loves to do. The ending of this novel will make you question the nature of the world and everything you have just read. That's Philip K. Dick. This is the normal stuff, I suppose. But yeah, the other themes in there are really, really interesting anyway. I think the look at the differences on the west coast of the US, ruled by Japan, and the differences to the east coast and the influence of the Nazi Party. It's a really interesting dichotomy, obviously, and it's interesting to see the macro kind of Stockholm syndrome that's at play, and how we are accepting of what the ruling class say, and how we pick up on party agenda and stuff like that, and how we can feel like part of a tribe. These are all quite heavy-handed themes, but they are quite well worked into this novel. It's very interesting to see how poorly matched allies Japan and Germany were, and what the future might look like should they come into conflict, should there be World War III. What are the cultural differences between Japan and Germany that just would not have got on? And how, through the US lens, they can be studied by the people in this novel. The characters themselves they do take a bit of a backseat. There are some well-written characters in here, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily the strong point. They are tied together by a book, again, fourth wall breaking novel that exists within the novel. The Grasshopper Lies Heavy, which again, it depicts what if the Allies had won the war, just like our own timeline, so to speak. But then obviously Philip K. Dick likes to twist that. He likes to break the fourth wall, put it back together, but put it back together a little bit different. What if that then became a dictatorship? What if, really who won the war was irrelevant? It's not irrelevant, and he will tell you why, but what if it was? Again, he likes to lead you down the garden path there as well. There is a lot of feel in here that you might find it's quite similar to books like Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. There is that kind of corporate feel, you know, kind of like national corporations level stuff in there. There's a lot of, you know, espionage and stuff in there as well. A lot of cloak and daggers. There's some action in there. But I wouldn't say it has the same reading experience as Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I would say this is a little bit more of a patchwork. It doesn't really come together at the right times. So the flow is a little bit off sometimes, and the way it runs is a little bit messy, but it's a book about ideas at the end of the day. It might not be the best reading experience that you will get, but I think most readers will get quite a bit from it, and I'd actually give it a 4.5 out of 5.